this book is spanning three categories. On the one hand, it's a spiritual adventure memoir like Eat, Pray, Love or Cheryl Strayed's Wilds. It also has a practical element, bringing in some of Bill Mollison's Permaculture Designer's Manual and Rob Hopkins' The Transition Handbook. And finally, there's an environmentally themed focus to it that's kind of shaping ecology. Books like David Abrams' Spell of the Sensuous or Naomi Klein's This Changes Everything. And the book is actually part of a trilogy. It's the third book in the American Dream trilogy. The first was 12 by 12, which is about a guy living in an off-grid cabin. The second is New Slow City, about a couple, my wife and I, living in a Manhattan micro-apartment. And this series culminates in this present book, Dispatches from the Sweet Life, which is about a family living in a Bolivian transition town. Well, worldwide there are 1,600 transition initiatives in 45 countries, fostering local low-carbon economies. Global is a contraction that means global and local. And transition towns focus on alternative energy, local consumption, organic agriculture, and community. Now, there are also transition streets in the cities that have block parties, that have organic gardens and swaps and so forth. Now, I've seen transition towns all over the US, in Madison, Wisconsin, Portland, Maine, also eco-housing communities in Davis, California, and Columbia, South Carolina, where there's 20-hour work weeks and having auto repair and other activities that you do part-time so that you can have a leisureology or a leisure ethic instead of a work ethic. Now, this type of leisureology is actually mainstream in a place like Bolivia, but it's being captured through a process of post-development through the transition movement in the West. The Sweet Life is Summa Kamanya, which is Aymara for living well. You can also look at vivir bien, the Spanish word for living well together. And the Sweet Life is this concept of one, having an importance of the internal present moment, that we live in the present moment, breathing, looking around, enjoying where we are. The other is thriving in community. People are people through other people, not separated from others, not individualistic, but communal in nature. And finally, the relationship with Pachamama, or Mother Earth, is so key in the Sweet Life that we really have to connect with biocentrism. And so this all contrasts with the Good Life, which is the Western or American idea that more is better, that getting ahead is the most important thing, as opposed to more of an idea of the Sweet Life of connection with self, others, and nature. Well, with the Trump presidency, there's been a national consciousness jolt, you could say, looking at our dominant ethos and where we are, where we're going, a deeper probe. And two of the trends right now in this zeitgeist are revillaging and localization. So revillaging is challenging urbanization, or the idea that we're inevitably moving everyone into cities in the world, 90% by 2050 or something like that. So it's moving back to the towns to a quieter, sort of slower and happier life. And localization challenges globalization, which is the idea that we're inevitably moving into a one-world monoculture, a McWorld, and that no, we can have what Arturo Escobar calls post-development or localization, bringing textured hybridity back to the world and not just one culture. So, this resonates because there are 25 million Americans known as cultural creatives. These are folks focusing on spirituality and social activism. And a core idea here is biocentrism. This is the idea that human beings are part of the natural world, the more than human matrix, and not one species cut off from the rest of creation. So this book is key because it's offering permaculture on the one hand, the things our parents forgot that our grandparents used to know, the transition movement, the slow movement, and also the Andean Amazonian philosophy of living well. There's three things that I'd like them to take away from reading Dispatches from the Sweet Life. One is a sense of transformation, that ordinary moments can become epiphanies, that what is your urgent charge if not transformation? Secondly is to slow down and to find your sweet life. That's the question. is, if you look at the statistics, a Gallup has shown that 70% of Americans are unhappy with their lives. 1 out of 4 are suffering from depression. And in Japan, there are karoshis, people who literally die from overwork. And America could become a nation of karoshis. So the third takeaway for me is personal equilibrium. This will lead to higher consciousness in both your community life, in your business life, in your personal life. And it's not slow in the sense of, oh gosh, sluggish and Luddite, but it's self-paced, and it's cultivating the positive qualities like equilibrium, harmony, happiness, instead of the fast, contemporary, qualities of speed and more is better and so forth. So we can live and work smarter and not faster, and we can become happier and find our sweet life.